WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have a single cask edition from Lichtburg, number 2 from the Historic Series. This is 57.5% ABV. This was 15 years in an ex-bourbon cask. Cost €106.60, and it's Whiskybase number 181387, 337 bottles. Now, the very special thing about this bottle is actually we're supporting the local scene of the town of Essen in Germany and their historic cinema scene. So for every bottle, actually, Thilo from Rolf, Kaspar, that's the distributor, they're actually donating €6.50 for each and every bottle actually bought. So there's 337 bottles. So that means €2,190.50 will be donated to the club for the film festival and cinema culture in Germany for the very, very good. I like that. So I'm actually doing something, drinking and helping to support these small historic cinemas. Now this is number 2, so I'm going to bring out number 1. This was one of my favorite bottles so far of 2021. I remember tasting this and just going, wow, this was a revelation. This was something which I was fantastic. This is also 15 years old, 57.4, 57.5, 15 years old, 15 years old. This is an ex-Brandy cask. This is an ex-Armagnac cask. And I just loved this a lot. And so I'm going to pour a tiny little bit and just try this. So the first time I nosed and tried this one, I actually received a little sample before it was actually even bottled, or it was probably bottled before it was actually sold here in Germany. I must admit, I went, okay, this is much better. Now, for some whiskeys, you really need to get to know them before you can actually review them. Not all whiskeys, but some whiskeys. And we talk sometimes about the famous little bottleneck here, down below here, and then you get to do that. Now, I don't. I open them up. I do the review at the very beginning. It's my first impression of the whiskey. Sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes luckily. Depends if I like, or love, or hate the whiskey. Now, that's very, very interesting because cognac casks are special. Rum casks, for example, we use ex-bourbon casks. Cognac casks, we don't. Cognac has to be, I'm saying cognac, once again I have to go back a step. Brandy is distilled wine. Cognac is distilled wine from a special region in France. Just like champagne is a special sparkling wine from a certain region of France, and everything else all over the world is just sparkling wine. The same thing here. Cognac is basically brandy just from a special region. So, and I looked up and I found out that actually cognac needs, in the very first year, they use fresh, new virgin oak casks, amazingly. And then they fill it up into other casks later on. And now I do not know what type of cask this was, but I do get a lot of wood on the nose, and I do get a lot of wood on the palate. And so I might think that that was one of those casks that were maybe not used for very many years, or maybe only used once, who knows. All right, so it gets a little bit of the tannins in the cognac, and then we could keep it in older casks for much longer years. Over here in Germany, I can buy a 40-year-old cognac for about €110, which I think is amazing. I cannot buy a 40-year-old whiskey for that price. A 40-year-old whiskey, Glenfarclas, runs right about 650 to €800 at the moment. And that's the cheapest 40-year-old whiskey I can find if it's not from a discounter. I had a 200 euro bottle once from Lidl. Ben Brachen, for 40 years old. You can find the video on my channel as well. That would maybe one of the very, very few exceptions. All right, on the nose, I do get a little bit of wood, as I mentioned. And I do get a little bit of a nice brandy moment. I don't know if you have had brandy in your life. I've had more cognac than I've had brandy. And brandy can be very, very particular, and so in this direction it goes. But I do notice that there's something behind this that's going to be very, very interesting. Going over here to my Armagnac, I just have to do this. at this distance, I start smelling the Armagnac. Ah, mm. Oh yeah. Somehow this pushes all the right buttons for me. This is absolutely my wheelhouse. I would never have thought that I would have loved a whiskey like I do this. I got a couple bottles stashed away because there were only about 300 and some bottles of this as well, I think. 330, no, 532. Yay. Here we have 532. Apparently, an Armagnac cask is much bigger than a brandy cask. Did not know that. 337. All right, so I'm going to taste a little bit of this and put some water in it and make this whiskey fabulous. All right, so at cask strength, in my personal opinion, this whiskey lacks something, or otherwise said, it has something too much, and that's wood. Cheers. Mm. Mm. So I have the feeling, did you, this is how it tastes. It's like, wow, what's there? And the very, very first time I had this today, I had it once before, but today it was like exactly this. Wait a second, there's something there. What is that? And the entire time I had as if this sawdusty type of wood moment was suppressing the true flavors of this whiskey. So what I did is I went on a search and I tried to find out what to do. So first of all, I could have warmed up with my hands. Temperature changes the flavor profile of a whiskey. Now, over here, it's basically the middle of May of 2021, and it's not 90 degrees outside, but it's a nice spring day, 75 degrees. That's not the problem. So I'm not going to get it much, much warmer with my hands here. It does open up a little bit. In this case, what I used is water. So I took it from its 57.4% all the way down to as low as I could possibly get to still call it whiskey, 40%. Now, I'm not sure if I get 41%, if I get 39.8 or whatever. I'm just eye gauging it. But still, I'm going to bring it down to about 40%. And I did that, and I was like, wait a second. Wow. And I love whiskeys that do that. Unfortunately, sometimes I do not spend enough time with a whiskey in order to discover its hidden talents. But this time I really was like, hey, I want to get to know this whiskey. I want to understand what's going on here. And luckily for me, probably unluckily for you, because you might not ever see a bottle of this, except for on an auction site outside of Germany, um, I found out the secret to this whiskey, at least in my personal opinion. All right. Now, even the nose, that woody moment is basically dissipated, and in its place is a fruity lime type of moment. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm going to call it the after eight lime moment. I love after eight. Don't get hung up on the peppermint part of it. Get hung up on the creamy lime dark chocolate coating moment. That's what I'm getting here, and I love this. This is just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful whiskey. Now over here, the Armagnac. Now they're almost on par. I still like the Armagnac a little bit better than I did brandy, but the brandy went from a C minus on a good day or bad day, all the way up to a B minus. All right, really, really improved a lot. Cheers. Hmm. Hmm. Oh yeah, and I love the finish here. I was mentioning that there's a tiny little peak there. Everything that was suppressing this whiskey, that woodiness is gone almost. It's a little bit supporting now, maybe, if I put it in a very positive term. The alcohol wasn't the problem here. The alcohol, the sharpness wasn't the thing. There was other flavors in here actually dampening the real true flavor of this whiskey. And now I got it, which I'm very happy about. So I might have to go out and buy another bottle of this. I bought two bottles. I shared both bottles, and now I'm left with my 5 CL for my bottle share. I think I'm going to go out and buy a new one, put it back with my, got 3 bottles stashed away of this, so I think I may need one more. Very, very good stuff. This is a B minus whiskey if you learn how to enjoy this whiskey correctly. Now, I have gone back after I put water in there and did the cast strength again, and I could identify a little bit more of that flavor that was there, but still, it was so dampened by that wood sawdusty moment that I just enjoy this whiskey much more by 40, maybe 43%. It's still non-chill filtered, it's still non-colored, and I get to actually stretch this bottle and make it into more and have a better product. What else could you ask for except for lower price? All right, very, very good. Very, very nice. So value for money is still a C. €100 to pay for a 15-year-old cast strength whiskey. 5 years ago, when I started my German channel, I would never have said, "Hey, $100 for a cast strength Irish whiskey is actually something I'd pay." But in the meantime, I found out that actually that's what you have to pay for good, if you can even get it for that much, for good cast strength 15-year-old Irish single malt whiskey. That's just the ongoing price, and it's getting rarer and rarer week for week, month for month, year for year. Thank you very much for watching. My question of the day is, what ex-Brandy Cask finished or matured whiskey can you recommend? It can also be cognac. And if that's not the case, what is your favorite cast strength Irish whiskey? Anything except for me, it's always Redbreast Cast Strength 12. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. This is also very, very nice, and you do see a little bit in the pictures here. Let's see if it zooms in here. This is the movie theater called Lichtburg in Essen, Germany. I've actually been there. Ooh, it's been almost 30 years now. Since I was last there, and this is also a view from the opposite direction, going back and seeing how fantastic and beautiful that used to be, those historic cinemas. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, tell others, and also share this video with other people. And you can always contact me at whiskyjason@gmail.com or write in the comments. I do reply to every comment written. Thank you very much. All the best. See you soon. Whiskey Jason here. Bye-bye.